All right, welcome to Springs Law Group. This is Chris Nicolason, and today I'm joined by my daughter Megan, all
Hello.
the way from Louisville, Kentucky. And today, the reason I wanted to bring Megan on is we're going to talk about how do you distress, not distress, but de-stress, after a long week. So generally, all of us go to school or go to work. And then last year around this time, we end up with this pandemic that keeps us all at home. And so we can't go outside or, we can't gather in public the way we normally were used to and things like that. And then so school has changed for a lot of people. And I'll have Megan talk about that here in a second as well. And then additionally, just the days in and days outs of life generally. There are people who have been let go from jobs and a ton of other things like that, where even just, social gatherings or Zoom fatigue may be a thing these days, on how do we go about doing things. So I wanted to bring Megan on because I think generally being a first year law student alone is massively stressful. And you have to have, one thing her and I have talked about is not losing yourself, who you are through this process. And so you have to keep your own sense of humanity, and sanity through the process. So I wanted to kind of have Megan talk a little bit about her experience in going through school, and then we'll talk about ways that she kind of unwinds after a long week or things like that. So can you kind of talk to everybody about how school has been, for your first year so far?
Yes. Well, definitely not at all what I expected my first year of law school to look like. Because I was taking the LSAT and applying before pandemic hit, and actually did a school tour here at Louisville right before the pandemic hit. So I was not expecting any of this. I think the big change is socially, it's very strange because I moved to a state where I didn't know anyone, so that already would have been kind of a challenge.
Right.
But we don't really ever see anyone in person. So the way that our school is doing it is our 1L class is divided into 4 groups. So there's 1 and 2, and then amongst those 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. And so you've got maybe 30 people in each of those groups. And so those are the only people that you ever see in person. So I don't think I've actually met a 2L or a 3L in person this year. I'm only around those same 30 people. And even so, we're sitting very far apart from each other in the classroom. And even then, we're only in the classroom in person maybe once a week. So that's been kind of strange and a struggle. But COVID law school does come with the benefit of a lot of professors letting us do open book finals and things like that I think we probably typically would not get to do. So
right,
it's kind of nice, but
right. So then so obviously there's been ups and downs and ebbs and flows that you've had. I've experienced some of those with you, and I've experienced some myself at times, but you just, I think there's, you doubt yourself at times through law school where you go, what am I even doing here? This is hard as all get out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume. Okay. And so then for you, then what kind of things do you end up doing? So you have your week of your classes, your week of reading and things like that. What things do you do to unwind and de-stress after a long week?
For me, I think especially in really content heavy weeks for class, I think it's important to have at least one day on the weekend where I do absolutely nothing related to law school at all.
Okay.
Generally that kind of comes with having to work hard during the week to get ahead so that I can not have to do stuff all weekend.
Sure.
But I think having one day where I can just hang out, clean the apartment, watch TV, sleep in late, just not think about law school for even a second is really helpful.
Right. And I think too, I always said too, that while I was in school and we did get so our friend Joey says hello.
Hi, Joey.
And we got I always said that during law school, my apartment was never cleaner in my entire life than during school. But that's actually a de-stressor, isn't it, in some ways? Because
I've always called it productive procrastination because I'm procrastinating on school stuff, but still doing things that need to get done anyway. So
that's fair. That's very fair. And then I do know for you, at least, one of the things that you did at the kind of a few weeks into your first semester to help de-stress was you ended up getting a companion, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you explain to people what you ended up doing?
Yeah, so I don't think my parents were super thrilled about this, but a couple weeks into my first semester of law school, I got a 2-month-old kitten. So that was actually really helpful. I've never had a cat before, so didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but do not regret it for a second, especially living alone. He's been my little roommate buddy. So
Yeah. And what's your cat's name?
his name is Monty.
Yeah.
Yes.
And is Monty, so you said he was a kitten, so is he
He's not technically an adult cat yet. I think somewhere around a year they start calling them actual cats. So he's technically still a kitten, but he's
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's Monty, I'm assuming then too, has also been a de-stressor as well then too for that.
For the most part, when he's not running around knocking things over, yes.
There you go. And I mean, if you look like even right behind Megan right there, she's got this fireplace right there behind. Isn't that a little fireplace? And it's and then that top used to have stuff, I think, right when you moved in on there. And then now because of Monty, no more stuff up top.
Yeah, I had a lot of cute little apartment decorative things, and he very quickly started breaking them. So there's nothing up there anymore. It's too long away to the floor to keep things up there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then and so I mean, and for me, I mean, it's one of those things where like I end up, like I go to work and then I come home and it's one of, and it's kind of like that Groundhog Day repeat almost for me each week during the week. And then so for me on the weekends, it's one of those things where I like to be able to go to the gym. I want to be able to, kind of zone out and watch. I like, the sports that I watch, which, golf, which is super fun. But golf and football, basketball, or sorry, not basketball, but hockey and baseball. And so if I can watch those and just kind of veg out a little bit and do those things, it's super enjoyable along, and hanging, and for me, it's hanging out with, with Gretchen. But I think that those are things that I do. And then for us as well, now that certain COVID restrictions are lifting out here, and I'm not sure how they are out in Kentucky, but it's been one of those things to be able to get out to certain restaurants that we've missed going to. Like that, again, is like that. Like breath of fresh air to be able to be like one out at a place again and around other people, even if you don't know them, but also to like, it's like kind of like saying hello to an old friend again.
Sure.
Yeah. And then don't you think too, like and then the other thing that we do is we binge watch a whole heck ton of TV. And then, so can you tell people too, what you're watching right now?
I'm currently watching Lost. That's the big one. I think just started to hit the part where it gets a little bit wonky in the middle, so it's a little weird right now, but that's okay. We're gonna that's it.
Keep power, just like school, you just keep powering through it.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, okay, so I just wanted to have Megan on, who I know at times law school itself can be massively stressful, and there are things that we all can do to de-stress. If it's going to the gym, meditating, journaling, kind of just getting out for a walk. I would not do that in Colorado this weekend. But, any of those things to help yourself kind of de-stress and just chill out for the weekend as you get pumped up and ready to go and kind of recharge for the next week. So Megan, thanks for coming on, and hope everybody has a safe and warm weekend.